So these are the diaries of a goat farmer. And today I just want to talk about an important topic in which we had to learn. And we are also learning even as we are going. So remember, we moved farms. We moved from where we were doing our farming project to the current location. And remember, when we moved in December, we had so many goats that were actually kids at that time that were less than a month old. But even though we were reluctant to move young kids, but anyway, we decided to move them then because we had no option. So we've moved them now. And we recently started a new program in terms of for deworming, you know. So when we moved our kids, we gave them vitamins. They were on they were still breastfeeding, and everything went well at that stage. And then we also vaccinated them against pulpy kidney, as what is usually the case. And then remember, according to how we normally do things, after we vaccinate, then we actually then deworm. But there is a new method now that people are talking about for deworming, where you don't actually deworm your whole flock, where you actually examine the animals, you examine the mucous membranes. If they are pink, you don't deworm, but if they are getting pale, then you actually deworm. So that's the chart that you use. So when you examine, can you see picture number 1 there? It's nice and pink. There's no dose. Number 2 again, there's no need to dose. But number 3, can you see it's getting a bit pale? Then you dose. And then the last one, that's actually dangerous, and you immediately need to dose. And the dosing that we're talking about is to actually give a dewormer. So let me show what it's looking like in our head at the present moment. So we are just inspecting the goods. The money pink. Can you see how pink up? Even Musna up. We're not really pink and not more difference. And we're not even up, so you can actually see that it's pink. And you got someone. Now let's actually look at its kid. Mwana ake achiri akacheneruka mbichana. But still kwete kumpressisa tsera ibosa chita kuti tuone ibosa ukona kapinka ko ndokuvhura kwazvinofanira kuita tichiona kudai so you can see kuti iri pink andika unoona kuti iri pink pozokabata stere kukadzvanya inogona kucheneruka nakuti but muona kuti iri pink. So you saw that the kid and the mother are pink, and this means that the chances of them having worm infestation is very, very low. So there is no need to actually give a dewormer in those goats. But because these goats are in this area, they might have built up an immunity against the local worms in this area. That's why they are not affected by the worms in this area. But certainly the kids that are coming from another area might be affected. So let's also have a look at the kids that we brought in, and even some of the goats that we brought in, and see if they are also pink. Let's just check. White. Be careful not to press too much, otherwise you might actually make it pale. So can you see this one? It looks pink. Can you see there? It looks pink. Let me try and get a. We'll try and get a better angle. So it looks pink. Between pink and borderline. So we are between 2 and 3. But certainly, the ones that we first examined was very, very pink. And the child was almost like this. So this is also on the borderline side, between 2 and 3. So let's examine another one. So these are the ones that we actually brought in. So let's look at this one. Can you see that this one, it's a kid and it looks pale. So you can actually see that it looks pale. Let's actually look at another one. This is the older one. It looks a bit pale as well. And let's actually look at another one as well. So this one as well, can you see? Can you see this? That's almost white, guys. I mean, you looked at all the goats that I've been showing you. This one is very pale. So it means it's got extensive worm infestation. So these are the ones that you definitely need to give a dewormer. But just a bit of advice there. You know, sometimes I realize that at times we want to use this new method that I showed you. But as you can see, or as you saw, obviously you put all the goats in a race and then you start to examine each one at a time. But what I've noticed is the guys at the farm, they hardly do this. You know, you will tell them to do that, but they will hardly do that. So it's actually good, in my opinion, to just revert back to what we've been doing in the past so that you don't suffer great loss. Because if the guys don't examine the goats, particularly when the numbers are high and they are rushing, it means you're not going to be deworming. And then if you're not deworming them, they get pale because all the food that they're eating is going to these worms, and you know the immunity goes down, and then they're prone to infections, and then you end up losing goats. So my experience in trying to migrate to this new method where you examine each and then you deworm, I've noticed that the guys don't actually do that well. So it's actually just quite good to just stick to a vaccination schedule or a deworming schedule that you can actually use. And I think what would be important is, you know, to take a sample of the stool, take it to the lab and see what kind of worms there are there, so that you can actually give a specific dewormer which is going to help you at your farm. So that's one thing that I've learned, guys, that yes, we've tried to go on to this new method, but practically with the resources that we have, with the manpower that we have, it's really difficult for the guys to actually do that. It's difficult. And you saw on the video, some are actually really pale. And you notice some of the kids were not growing really well. So I think I would just advise, you know, have a good vaccination schedule and just stick to it. But look, where if your employees or you are hands-on and you can actually go through the whole flock examining each goat, then by no means I think do that. But from my experience, I think in this case we are just going to deworm all of them, because quite a fair number of them are like that. And then, you know, once afterwards, probably we will see, maybe next year or so we can implement this new method. But for now, I think because we're in a new environment, we've got kids, we just deworm. So I know this has been a long video today, but I thought let me just do this just to share my personal experiences and my thoughts. If you've got experience in this, just also send me a comment, hit us up in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your opinions on what I'm talking about. Happy farming, guys, and thank you for watching. Remember, these are the diaries of a goat farmer, and bye for now.